Look, moderate Republicans, just do us all a favor. Become Democrats already, because that's what you really are. Anybody remember Senator Spreaker from Pennsylvania? Yeah, he was a moderate Republican. No, he was a freaking Democrat that decided, well, I'm going to change to the Republican Party. He was never a conservative. You could say he was more conservative than many of the Democrats that he served with, but that doesn't make him a conservative. The group's new president, former Ohio Republican Representative Steve LaTourette, told Yahoo News that he plans to begin conversations with Blue Dog Democrats and centrist groups in the coming months. Are they trying to carve the country up in thirds? We have liberals, centrists, and conservatives. Let me tell you something. Centrists always get eaten up. They do. Well, what did Christ say? Jesus Christ. He said, I would that you despise me or love me. But since you neither despise nor love me, I vomit you out of my mouth. In other words, Christ despises the middle of the road. Make up your mind. There is no middle of the road. You got to stand for something. That's what the lesson is. Yes, it was, accept me or deny me, said Christ, but don't be ambivalent about it. Well, I'm not so sure. I kind of like you, but I only like this much of you, not this. No, accept me or deny me. Conservative or liberal. Stand for something. Because this wishy-washy, you might as well just be a liberal if you're going to be wishy-washy, because they're the ones that are going to embarrass you and twist your arm to thinking and voting their way anyway. That's what usually happens, because that's what John McCain said. Yeah, I've crossed the aisle. No, crossing the aisle is not compromising. Crossing the aisle is giving in. I don't know how many times this has to be said. You don't compromise with Democrats. You don't compromise with liberals. Because what they think a compromise is really what they're really saying. Oh, just, abandon your beliefs and just come on over. Yeah, cross the aisle. Obama's talking, well, I moved more than halfway in order to meet Boehner. Man, I know somebody said, that, it's more than a Freudian slip. Because the man's a bonehead. But I'm surprised I'm not calling him Boner. Well, I guess that would Bonier's the closest thing to boner I can get to then, huh? But he's a bonehead. From the very first day that we found out that he was elected Speaker of the House, you can go back, and I think I was on Blog Talk Radio at the time. You can go to one of those shows from Blog Talk Radio days 2 years ago, and you will hear me say, I do not like nor trust John Boehner. He's the wrong person for the Republican Party, for conservatives to be Speaker of the House. I told you then, and guess what? I hate to say it, but I was right. And no, well, is he a moderate? Well, he's not. He's close enough to be. He might as well be a moderate. He isn't a true conservative, because if he was a true conservative, he would have let the country go over the physical cliff. Because I would have been out there saying, if I was Boehner, if I was him, I'd be out there saying, look, Congress hasn't passed a budget in 4 years. This so-called fiscal cliff was made up and brought to us by the Democrats. And I can prove it, and just go right back 4 years from now when they had the chance to give us budgets and they didn't do it, and then take Harry Reid, who said we don't need a budget, and take his words and put it on a tape recorder or an iPad or something and play it over and over again, no matter where he goes. So even when he's giving a speech or he's giving a press conference and the mainstream media is there, he has it on tape. And they can't hide it. I would do that. And I would be pounding on them every chance I got in front of a microphone and camera. I'd be saying it's their damn fault, because it is. And I'm not budging. I know what is best for this country, what I believe to be best, and what I believe to be best, I am going to stand for. No tax increases on anybody, especially before we cut spending and get our spending under control. Not going to do it. You want to go over the cliff and put the country in a deep depression or even a deep recession? It's on your heads, and I've got the freaking proof. But no, he's probably, I want people that like me. Except for Harry Reid, because he told Harry Reid to F off. Well, that's about the bravest thing I've ever heard him do. I stood up and cheered on that one. About dang time. Speaking of liberal idiots, on the level of Harry Reid, Barney Frank wants to be the interim appointed senator for Massachusetts if John Kerry is appointed and approved to be Secretary of State. Former Representative Barney Frank, who retired supposedly because that's what he was tired of being tired of being representative. Former Representative Barney Frank says it was a year-in standoff with a physical cliff that prompted him to seek an appointment to John Kerry's Senate seat and then go public with hopes for his next career move. Asked why he changed his mind, Frank told Politico that during a House Democratic caucus meeting on a heated fiscal cliff negotiations, he had a change of heart as he confronted the details of the bill that Congress would pass. This is the guy that gave us the Dodd-Frank bill. This is the guy who caused the mess to begin with. And now, I can go there. I can go and fix it. I can fix this. I can fix it. I can fix the Senate. Me, Barney Frank. This from a guy who claimed he didn't know that his live-in lover was running a brothel, basically, out of their apartment. And his current, I guess is his husband now. I think they got married from Maine. He's not a clean as a whistle thing either, but Barney Frank didn't seem to know about his misdeeds. All right, look, I'm not saying, the brothel thing is a bad thing. But, if somebody does something before they meet you, that's one thing. But if it's really bad, you should probably know about it. I don't know how you can not, especially somebody in his position. His people have been all over his boyfriend or husband. Well, boyfriend at the time. I don't know how he doesn't know. And then we got he's a big hypocritical slob. I can't, he's another guy. I just don't think I would like him personally. Forget about his politics. Yeah, everybody knows I don't like Barney Frank's politics. I was happy to see him go. Yeah, I just don't think he's not a likable guy, in my view. I think he's a pig-headed, bigoted, arrogant snob. And I also think he's hypocritical. But, hey, speaking of hypocrites, Al Gore. Guess who's wealthy now? Wealthier than wealthy. Albert Gore Jr. That's right. Former Vice President Al Gore is now considered to be richer than Mitt Romney thanks to current TV sale. Yes, thanks to the $500 million sale, of which Gore is expected to net over $100 million personally. To Al Jazeera TV, Al Jazeera this month, Middle Eastern oil company or group started by oil money. Gore now has a personal fortune of over $300 million. This is what Forbes magazine estimates. That puts him ahead of Republican presidential contender Mitt Romney, whose estimated net worth was $230 million. And that led him to charges that, vulnerable to charges that he was out of touch with the common man. But Al Gore is still in touch with the common man. Al Gore has never been common in his life. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he turned that silver spoon into platinum. And, this is the guy that people actually noticed that this guy had, in his mansion, his lights were constantly on. And he didn't have those compact fluorescent light bulbs in his mansion. The financial publication describes Gore's wealth to a series of savvy investments that substantially multiplied the $2 million he listed as assets when he ran and lost the presidential race to George W. Bush back in 2000. So he did a Clinton. He went from $2 million to $300 million. Savvy? No, he got all that money, basically, from his scam of that carbon credits trading platform or thing. And then he starts his stupid ultra-liberal cable company and then sells it to Middle Eastern terrorist-supporting oil men. Go figure. Oh, but, Al's a good guy. Al is a good guy. Texas school can force teenagers to wear locator chips, says a judge. San Antonio, a public, folks, this is important because this is going to become, if they can get away with this in Texas, they can start introducing this everywhere, and it would only be the beginning. A public school district in Texas can require students to wear locator chips when they are on school property. A federal judge ruled yesterday afternoon in a case raising technology-driven privacy concerns among liberal and conservative groups alike. U.S. District Judge Orlando Garcia said the San Antonio Northside School District had the right to expel sophomore Andrea Hernandez, who was 15, from a magnet school at Jay High School because she refused to wear the device, which is required of all students. Well, let me ask, are faculty members required to wear this stuff? The judge refused the student's request to block the district from removing her from the school while the case works its way through the federal courts. The American Civil Liberties Union is among the rights organizations to oppose the district's use of radio frequency identification, or RFID technology. The district's RFD policy has been criticized by conservatives who call it an example of big government. But the main reason for having this is for funding. You see, school districts only get federal dollars, matching dollars, when students are in the classroom at the beginning of the day. So in other words, they have to be in homeroom or that first class before it can be counted so they can get money. And this school district has said many students have been caught outside of the classroom or outside of homeroom during homeroom time, so they don't get counted, so the district doesn't get money. It said last year the district lost $1.7 million in funding because students weren't in the class. What? You can't get teachers to put the kids in the classroom if they're out in the hall? You gotta now tag them with the sign of the beast. Folks, it's a test situation for bringing that type of technology from the government in other places. I'm out of time for today, folks, but we will be back here tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. We hope things will go well. See you then. Have a great night.
Well, goodbye. And don't think it hasn't been a little slice of heaven, because it hasn't.
I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.